Hello and welcome everyone on my channel, The Garden City Project. My name is Greg Holenstein. I'm a landscape architect. On this episode today, I'm going to give you a short overview of the history of humanity. And we want to take a closer look at how humans influence environment over the thousands of years of human history. From a lot of people, we hear often things like, oh my gosh, humanity is destroying nature, humanity is destroying everything on the world. And we might ask ourselves, how is this true? And how do people come to think like this in this way? And for this reason, I would like to roughly recapitulate the human history in order to find out how it was possible for humanity to have such a great influence on the environment and the landscape as we have today. I want to start the story with the Stone Age. That's around 300,000 years ago, where humans lived as hunters and gatherers. At this time, they had to collect everything they needed to live from nature. They had to collect food and all stuff like that from nature. And they were completely at the mercy of the nature because they had practically no influence on the nature, on the environment. Because on this time they didn't have like complex tools we have today. So in our modern society, we can hardly imagine how people lived there, how harsh their life was. And this was the longest time of human history where humans lived as hunters and gatherers. Rise of agriculture. Around 10,000 years ago, people began to cultivate and grow various crops, and around the same time they had also begun to keep and breed livestock. For the first time in history, humans had a significant impact on the surrounding landscape, changing it by planting fields and pastures, clearing forests and other activities. Agriculture enabled humans to be much more independent from nature. The rise of agriculture also meant that people were able to settle down and no longer had to travel far around to collect food, which also led to the foundation of the first villages and later to the foundations of first towns. Rise of the first major civilizations. Around 3,000 years before Christ, the first major civilizations such as the Egyptians and the Mesopotamians emerged. At this time, people also learned to work metals, first copper, tin, gold and silver, and later iron. Because this was of crucial importance, the ages were also named after individual metals. For example, the Bronze Age and the Iron Age. The processing of metal enabled humans to produce ever better and more complex tools. As a result, field cultivation improved and people had an ever greater influence on the landscape and nature. They were now able to completely change landscape by building dams, irrigation systems, drainage swamps, and so on. The Ancient Era, Rise of Empires. Around 500 before Christ, the great empires started to spread. The empires of the Romans, Greeks, Persians, and other civilizations. This led to a supra-regional trade in the world, so that various goods that were not available in one place could be transported to other places. Among other things, this also led to new areas being developed, new farmland being created, and new resources being tapped. The world has changed significantly in ancient times as knowledge spread around the world, paving the way for further technical developments. Industrialization, 18th century. The industrialization was one of the biggest changes in human history. It has significantly changed the world. For the first time in human history, a transformation from an agricultural society to an industrial society took place. As you may know, the industrialization started in Europe and gradually spread throughout the world. Industrialization made it possible to produce goods on a large scale and massively increase people's prosperity. Of course, this huge development has also caused massive changes in society around the world, and things have not always gone smoothly. Nevertheless, industrialization marks a milestone in the human history and has significantly changed our world. These numerous new developments and means of production made humans even more independent of the surrounding landscape. Colonization of previously inhospitable areas became possible, and population growth has been skyrocketing all over the world since then. And in some cases, it goes on until this day. Now we come to the present time, the 21st century. And our current time, the 21st century, can probably be seen as a transition to digitalization. In some areas, digitalization has already established itself. In other areas, it is on the rise. Our influence on nature and the environment with our current means is enormous. With our modern means, we have the opportunity to completely change the landscape and the environment, for the good and for the bad. It should not be forgotten that the development of humanity from a simple society of hunters and gatherers, where people lived in total dependence on nature, to a modern society took place in a very short time, considering the whole human history of thousands of years. For this reason, the connection with nature and the environment is still within us, even if we no longer rely on nature today. But we still feel comfortable in a natural environment, and the natural atmosphere that a natural environment provides also has a beneficial effect on us. It's not for nothing that many people long for nature and back to the roots, because we are still programmed to feel drawn to nature. Now we are coming to the conclusion, to the summary of this story of mankind. The main difference between humanity today and humanity in the Stone Age is the fact that we are now able to shape our environment and the landscape as we want to. Of course, this can also have very negative effects, as we also have the potential to almost completely destroy our nature. But we also have the potential to create great new things. The only question is how we use our potential. In my opinion, there are only advantages if we manage to bring nature back into our cities and design our cities in harmony with the surrounding landscape. However, this transformation is not made automatically. It requires the skills and effort of many people, and also the use of numerous technical means that we have available today. I want to be the complete opposite of a pessimist who always talks about the end of the world. I want to give positive impacts and show that a lot is possible if we, as a mankind, move forward with confidence and we look to the future with an optimistic view. So, this is not the end of the world, but the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you could learn something, and if you like it, you can press the like button, leave a comment here and subscribe to my channel. See you next time. Bye!